Okay, let's go.
Hey, so welcome to another episode of Raising the Standard. I'm Mike, stay fresh. Y'all know what's up. And I got my man Mike with Catalina Pools. He's a great company in the Valley. I've known him for probably a good 10 to 12 years. He's been rocking and rolling, building, same as us. And I mean, honestly, I'm just super excited to be chopping it up with him, whether it's on podcasts, it's over the phone, or in person at events. We've made lots of changes throughout this industry together in our own companies, and we're going to dive into that and what that looks like today and where we're at. What's up, Mike? Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mike. This is an awesome opportunity, and this is something we're both passionate about. So I appreciate you having me on the podcast, and excited to chat about what's going on in our industry and what we're going to do to change that.
Yeah, let's. I mean, for people so they understand, Catalina Pools. Just break it down. How long have you been in business? Where you started, and kind of where you are today.
Yeah, so kind of keep it high level, but my family's been doing this 71 years as of 2025. And so my grandfather started the company in 1954, originally out in San Diego, California. I grew up in the industry. My first job was chipping pools in the summers, so, you know, the brutal part of the pool industry.
Yeah, you learned some shitty work into the industry.
Yeah, and that was plaster.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have pebble back then.
Yeah, bro.
So it was brutal work.
Little tools.
Yeah,
How old were you?
14.
Okay.
14, yeah, it was my summer job, chipping pools, and then worked my way up. We had a retail store too, so wanted to get myself into the air conditioning with my dad, and so went into the retail store more when I was later in high school, and then after high school went out in the field and started doing, you know, a little bit of project management for my dad on the build side, the remodel side, that stuff. So learned, you know, from the ground up. I was never just like, hey, here's a business, go for it. Had to, you know, learn the hard way.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Yeah. No, I mean,
let's be honest. I think Bradley, first time he like for real worked for me, he was probably 9 years old. I had him do an acid wash. You know, put him in some big old boots that don't fit him, and like, here you go, buddy, let's go.
Yeah, no, that's the way you learn.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was back in the late '90s, early '90s, late '90s, and then I brought the company out here to Arizona about 10 years ago. And that was a tough transition. You know, nobody knew the brand out here, and so my wife and I literally. I think when I met you, I was just single poling it. Had the truck, you know, the typical, the net and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And now, you know, we're full blown, you know, design, build, contracting, you know, company. And we do everything from, you know, build you a new pool, remodel. We love the remodels, repair. Just as you know, just recently within 30 days, exited the service side of the business.
Yeah, I was going to chime in on that.
You know, but I'll always have a passion for the service side. I'm a firm believer that anybody who gets involved in remodeling or building should
start from maintenance.
Yeah, start in the service, start in the maintenance, understand, you know, what's
understand
important.
how it works, understand chemistry, because all of those things, if you don't understand that stuff, a lot of those are the first things that void warranties. If you don't understand chemistry and you're calling and something's wrong with your interior, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check that fucking water.
Yeah, we're testing.
You know? And if we find out that LSI and all this stuff is wrong, you know, we'll stand behind our work. But, you know, you void warranties by not taking care of the pool properly. You know, I just saw a thing not too long ago, guys posting, throwing tabs in skimmers, right? And I'm like, one, in our company, if I find out you're doing that, you're fired.
Yeah, you're done.
Like, I'm not, there's no, this is one time. If you do it, you can't come, you will not have a job anymore. And it's like, guys don't even understand that that is the quickest way to void warranties as well. You know, if I come in and I see we put in a pump, you know, however long ago, they're calling and saying it's leaking. And I go and I open up the skimmer and I see tabs in there. And well, guess what? You know, now this is not covered under warranty and you have to pay for a new pump. And people are pissed.
Yeah.
Know?
No, it's, I mean, and not only the pump, just understanding, well, one, it just shows laziness.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're just being lazy, then I don't have room for you either.
Exactly.
So you're not going to fit the model of what we're trying to do. But yeah, no, I mean, one of my guys, friend of his out in California, called, and on a backyard video camera, a pool guy out there dumped cal hypo into the skimmer and
dude.
literally exploded in the side of the pool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some dude just died not too long ago from that. In California as well. Who would have thought?
That's why we came here.
That's right.
So it's a different model.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Catalina Pools, third generation pool contractor. We love what we do. It's a family owned and operated business, much like yourself.
Yeah.
And so, we're aligning ourselves with guys like you, doing it the right way and leveling up, raising that bar. Things you and I have been talking about for years.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, this is, the thing. And so many people in the industry talk about it, but nobody truly does it. You know what I mean? They might implement things within their company, but does that really affect and transition into other people's businesses as well? And that's the whole point of all of this, right? It's not about just changing what we have going on. It's about changing everyone around us as well, making them just hold themselves to a higher standard, which in return gives them more value and more money. If you can't see it, then you should probably go get a job somewhere else. My opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think collectively as an industry, especially here in the Valley, if we all start doing the same practices, we can also charge more money.
Exactly.
But as you say, it's interesting. Like I see you at, we see each other at a lot of the same events, like the education stuff. But there's a small portion of guys that we see on a regular basis.
Yeah, that are involved. Right.
But we know so many more.
So many more that don't spend the time. Everybody has an excuse, right? I'm busy. This happened. So am I. Right. So are you.
And we all
right.
got lives.
I know guys, that are incredibly busy, but they make time and travel the country to teach people how to do shit. So to give the excuse that you're busy is just a cop out.
Right.
It is. Like if you want to make change, you're going to make moves to change things, whether it's yourself or anybody around you. And that's part of being a leader. And a leader isn't who you are, it's what you do.
Right.
Right. So we got to make moves so that everybody around us can level up to a level of where they maybe take the hat and can run some shit for us, or outside somebody sees Catalina and all this stuff, you inspire them. And in that inspiration, hopefully they're taking on some of that feedback that they've watched you do things and implement it into their world. Not take your playbook, but take information from your playbook. I don't want anybody to be me. There's only one Mike Stay Fresh, and there's only one Mike Catalina Pools, right? But we want people to see what we're doing so they can see what they see that's valuable of what we're doing and implement it into their world. And that's how we make change, in my opinion.
It's only going to better, them personally, also their business, and then as a whole, they're going to make more money. I mean, it's not all about making money,
right,
but I want to see the industry just come up. You look at other industries, because we're in the home services business. We're one of the few that isn't as regulated as I personally think it should be, which is going to just drive that standard up. And so we have to take it upon ourselves, which you've been a champion and leading the way for a lot of the guys here in the Valley to push that. And, Catalina, myself, is 100% on board with that. And that's why we spend so much time, attending as many things as we can. And then those educational programs, I mean, we both, are a big part of Water Shape.
Oh, yeah.
They're definitely, way up there in terms of doing that at a much different level.
Yeah, it's all, best practices.
Right.
And best practices cost more money, meaning that you have to then pass that cost on to a homeowner, meaning you're selling jobs at higher rates. So close percentages can change. For people that don't really know how to educate clients. I met with some clients last week, and, I didn't even send them a bid yet, and they already approved the job, because I'm not a salesman, I'm an educator, right? That's what I try to tell people, which in turn, we're selling stuff, so, I'm selling things. But I just give them all the proper information and how we operate with our standard, and then the rest is up to them, And if we do that, you'll close jobs, no matter what that price range is at.
Yeah, I mean, an educated homeowner is going to make an informed decision because they have the knowledge.
They have all the info. They can take my info and they can chat GPT it. They can run it through the internet all they want, and they're going to find out that I'm giving them facts and that I truly care about how they spend their money. You know, a lot of people want to give them multiple options, which I'm not against options. People should have options, but a lot of times when companies give out options, they're giving options because they want the yes so bad. They want the yes, so they're going to give them all these cheap options to best option, where we don't give cheap options. I give best option only.
Right.
You know, that's all that I will offer you. There's no cheap option, because cheap option means that I get to come back to your house. Again, some businesses, not a bad business plan, just not my business plan. I don't want to come back fixing the same thing over and over again and over and over again for you to eventually feel like you hate your pool. If I come in and I just cut it out one time and fix it the one time and I save you and I give you 5-10 years, I now have a customer that can actually love their pool. The people that don't love their pools are the ones that get their stuff patched along the way. They're the ones that are calling you and being like, I just want to fill this pool in, Mike. How much does it cost to fill in the pool?
We hear
and
that.
The only reason they feel that way is because of the other guys that come in that so bad want the yeses. They think that they're helping them by giving them a cheap option up front, when in reality, they're just costing them more money in the long run, including heartache or frustration.
Yeah, I mean, the cheap option generally costs you more in the long run, as we both know, than, the educated, informed option of doing it what I call the right way.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, they're like, will you fix this or just repair this really quick? I'm like, no, we're not just come here, slap this on. We're the right way, and we don't have warranty issues.
Yeah.
I'm not, we're not the cheapest option. I don't want to be the cheapest option.
Yeah.
But in the long run, if you go the cheap route, you're going to spend more money.
Yeah.
And I'm not here just to make the sale. We don't want to just make the sale and move on. We want people's stuff to last. And that's why, the work that we do is consistent. People see it. Mm-hmm. And, there's levels of pool guys, and we all know that. And I want to be on the high quality, and that customer who wants the quick fix or the cheaper option isn't necessarily the customer that I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And there's a guy out there for them.
Yeah, and there always will be.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And that's why, again, raising that standard, there's always going to be, but if the majority of us can be at that higher standard and have a baseline that is, a very good quality, then we can bring those customers' expectations of what you can expect in the pool industry to another level.
Exactly.
And one of the things that I talk a lot about with, people in general, because our industry does have somewhat of a tainted reputation, mm-hmm. the barrier to entry into the industry is very low. Well, when I was saying, like, when I brought the company out here to Arizona, it was just me and a pickup truck. Doesn't take much. You got a pickup truck. Well, nowadays guys aren't even rolling pickup trucks.
You can have a car and just have a trailer and you pull that shit.
We see a lot of that stuff, which is a whole. I've got an opinion about that, but I'll leave that out. But yeah, your barrier to entry is super low. So you can roll up and put a magnet on your door and say you're a pool guy, mm-hmm. And sell you the bottom of the barrel pump. And you're going to be calling back. Eventually, they wind up with us, though.
Yeah.
I feel like eventually the educated customer winds up with the guys at the standard that we're at.
Exactly. Eventually, right? They have to go through all the stuff to finally. I mean, I tell most people, so it's down to like our service side, most people don't pick Stay Fresh to take care of their pool until they've had 12 different companies.
Right.
Like they're not going to come with us. We're going to be higher rate because we set the bar. We set the standard. The customer does not. We do. So, and others, they give it to the customer. Customer tells me when they want their filter clean. Customer tells me when they want their pool drained because it's their pool. Well, in reality, yes, it's your pool, but the moment that you signed us on, it's ours. And I tell you how we take care of it. And if you're not with it, then we're not your company. But if you're with it, you'll realize like, wow, you know what? My pool lasts longer, my equipment lasts longer, and most importantly, I have healthy water, safe, healthy water. Just because your pool is crystal clear doesn't mean that you should have your loved ones swimming in there. why we set our standards the way we do. You know, we drain pools every 2 years. If you know anything about chemistry too in the industry, reality, most pools should be drained yearly. You know,
I drain my pool every year, but
Yeah.
you know, that's me. This is
Yeah.
what I do for a living.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, that misconception of, oh, my water's clear, it's fine.
yeah.
Not a chance.
No way, man. You're better off swimming in the lake, honestly, with
Yeah.
the amount of chems that are in the pools. In Arizona, whether like we go through our small part where nobody's swimming, we still are dosing them with chems. We're dosing them with chems and chems and chems, and your people are swimming in them. You know, to me, it's like duh, right? Like, do you think about it? Think about your pool guy comes here weekly and just dump shit in here. Some of them may actually balance it, but lots of them are just throwing shit in the pool. And I say that because of experience. I was one of those guys. I was, when I started my business, same as many, I didn't have shit. I started with nothing. Was able to work with a buddy. Like, we ran our business out of a Trailblazer. It was a one vehicle that we had, our family vehicle. Like, I went to it. Lots of times in my beginning years, I didn't even test the water, bro. You know what I mean?
You're like, yeah, looks good.
I'm just throw some tabs in the floater. Like, what's acid? Like, as long as it's clear, nobody knows, because I know a little bit more than the homeowner knows, but I don't really know shit.
Do you still have any of those customers?
Not today. We just sold off, I think 2 years ago, we sold about 40 accounts, and a lot of them were older accounts because there was such low rates.
Right.
To jump them up to our rate, they were going to be like almost a $70 increase monthly. So we were balancing it, because reality, I probably could have retained probably more than half of educating them and letting them know why we charge more and why this is and that. But I felt like, you know what, we're gonna sell them. But all those counts were no less than with us for 7 years. Majority of them were 10 to 12-year-old clients that we've had. And they were some of those clients. I'm going on almost 17 years with Stay Fresh, 20 years in the industry at myself just doing pools. But in those beginning years, before I was like really Stay Fresh, a little bit into that too. I didn't know. I didn't care either, honestly. I was just going, running and gunning, right? I just needed to make money. That was the problem. All my focus is I needed money, because I was in survival mode, right? We lost it. We need to get it back. I lost my pride in myself, because I wasn't the provider that I know in my soul that I want to be. So then I take away what quality and standards are, and so just going through it, right? Like, I would take accounts that had no business having a pool service, let alone having a pool, right? Like, they don't even deserve to have a pool, and I'm over here servicing their pool.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, I think that's a lot of the thing. Like, we're so saturated with pools here in the Valley. A lot of other parts of the country, pools are considered luxury. Where here it's a necessity based off, the weather we have.
Exactly.
And so, I tell people this is a high-end SUV investment in the ground, and it has to be treated and taken care of as such. But there's so many people that can't afford that. And so that's why there's a market for the guy that maybe is new or isn't as educated, and is willing to do that, anything for a buck kind of work.
Just be a body to show up and do something.
Right. Which maybe, because of our environment, it caters to that style of pool company. Which I don't know if we'll ever, like you said, I don't think we'll ever get away from that.
I think we can make changes to that. And I think the biggest change is that we don't, like it was a blessing for many, but it's the biggest curse that comes to the industry, at least in Arizona. The fact that just anybody can go to bed tonight, wake up tomorrow, and start a pool business. Yeah. They don't have to get a business license. All they have to do is go on to LegalZoom, or if they know how to go through the state and get an LLC, you can go to any wholesaler and get a business account, and start buying products and running that you're a pool guy. So there's no skin in the game. And that also affects us long-term wise, as you see, like we were running courses and classes and all this stuff, and people want to learn, but nobody wants to invest in themselves. They're like, it costs money. you won't teach me for free? Like, because, and they have this mindset like that because they technically got into the industry for free.
Right.
You know, so like everybody is running on a cheap mind state. They don't even know, right? They don't even know that they're operating at low value. That's why I say lots of times to guys or whoever, you have to know your value. And so many of them think they know that they value themselves. But if we look at how they run their company and how they set their rates and how they set their standards, says the complete opposite, that they don't have the value that they deserve. You know, there's not many industries. Honestly, I don't know of any other industry that carries the amount of hats that a true pool professional carries in this industry. And that's a big difference between a pool guy and a pool professional, right? We have everything from electricians to chemists to concrete specialists, you know, like everything under one thing, engineers, you know, like this is all in our industry that you as a pool professional can hold those hats because there is things that are ability for you to learn these things and become proficient in them, which then gives you value, makes you more money, right? But because we don't have something for you to have to pay and held to every day, people just go by their days. It's a day-to-day life, right?
Yeah,
they're just going and it's done, and then Friday comes, it's the weekend, we're gonna drink beers or whatever, you know, like whatever it is, right? And then we're just gonna repeat it again, over and over and over again, with nothing being changed and nothing being elevated. And I'm not with it, right? Like I don't want it for my company. I build Stay Fresh as not for an exit plan. Like as we develop and grow, would we ever sell Stay Fresh? I mean, possibly, depending on what kind of number they're talking about. I would consider it, but that's not, I don't grow my companies for exit plans like lots of companies. They try to scale them to exit out. I want to grow my companies to develop legacies. That way, when I'm not here, somebody else has the opportunity to run this business and create careers and not jobs for people as they come in. And the only way to do that is by implementing regulations into this industry altogether for all businesses. The damn pest control industry has to pay regulation fees or whatever they're called monthly to just have a pest control business, which is fucking crazy that they have to do it and the pool industry doesn't have to do it. No, and that will change the industry. Just doing that will change the industry completely, because the reality, and I don't want people's businesses to go out of business or whatever, but we have to be held at a higher standard. And what comes with that, unfortunately, is costs to run your business. And that's either going to make people step up or get out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you talk about the regulation, that's one thing that when you're just talking about the suppliers. All you need is a business license.
You don't even need that, bro.
Right,
you just need an LLC.
Right. And that's something that frustrates me. And you can go in and buy from our supplier and they don't really check anything.
No background checks, none of that shit.
Wouldn't take much for one of our customers to go in and buy a pump over the counter and be like, oh, yeah, no.
And any customers watching this, we'll be watching you.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll catch you.
But, you know, it's I'm all for regulating, and it's going to weed out the people that aren't at the level that we need to be at.
Yeah.
I mean,
the difference between a hobbyist and a business. And that's the reality. Majority of guys in the pool industry are hobbyists, not business owners. And some believe that the pool industry could never be as a business, and it's only a hobbyist type of culture, which I completely disagree.
Oh,
so it's like, I'm like, what are you even thinking? Like when I started a business, it was to make money and change my life, not to just get by. If I just wanted to just get by in life, and I would just go get a job. And there's nothing against having a job. So anybody that's watching this, there's nothing against that in any way. You can live a beautiful and healthy and great life. As a business owner and entrepreneur, that's just me, right? That's in me, that I can't live that type of life. I need the ups and the downs and the changes that come and figuring out, because it's a challenge that I'm made for. Or I probably would get bored and just like I was when I tried to work in the regular world. Jobs never really were the greatest thing for me.
No, I don't consider this. Well, there's a difference between a job and a career.
100%.
And, and us as business owners, I mean, I'm sure at some point it was a job when we very first started.
Oh, yeah.
And now we've built to the point where we're providing people careers, education, learning trades and skills that are applicable to other parts of the, the
so
trade
if they
world.
move on from where they are with us, they can thrive in something else, whether it's this industry or not. They've picked up trades where that's where this world is going. Like you see on the internet everywhere, AI is taking over, but AI will touch the blue collar, but they're not going to touch what we do with our hands and what we have to physically do. At least not in my lifetime. Maybe someday they'll have robots and shit, but I will be long gone before that shit's happening.
Yeah, no, in the trades, I'm a huge proponent of the trades. I did, I went to college and everything, but I can tell you right now, if I was to change it again, I would have taken that money and started way earlier. The trades right now, I think, is like a $7 trillion industry in the United States. People are like, I want to get out of college and make a couple $100,000 a year. Go be an electrician. Go be a plumber. Be an HVAC guy.
Yeah.
Be a pool professional, and you can make that kind of money and then a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's where we need people to understand and get to. We're always going to need the pool professionals.
Yeah.
It's here to stay, and it's
especially
getting
in the
even
state
crazier.
of Arizona. It's like 1 out of 3 homes has a pool.
Right. And it's getting crazier. One thing I was talking to my dad about, who's retired, been out of the game for almost 30 years now.
Wow.
But there was a day when a pool professional would never have to go inside somebody's house. Why would you need to go inside somebody's house? Well, now we're learning IT because I've got to set up, network IDs in someone's data closet so that I can, connect the automation for the pool, and then we're working with audio video guys to make sure that, we've got proper bandwidths. Never in my lifetime when I was starting out in the industry did I think I need to learn how many megabytes a second I need to push to the backyard.
Yeah, so that you can get Wi-Fi connection.
Right. My dad finds that crazy. He's like, why would you go in someone's house? I'm like, I'm in a data closet right now hooking up, antennas and stuff. And it's just, it's changing. And
innovation is a part of the world altogether. So to think that innovation should not be a part of the pool industry is just stupidity, right? Like we have to be able to pivot. We have to learn we have to be open-minded to learn because things are going to ever change. Technology is not going anywhere. It's just going to get stronger, smarter, try to make things easier. So as they implement, we have to be prepared to learn that and teach it to our people and be proficient in it because we are professionals. That's huge, right? Like I never imagined it either. You know what I mean? I remember before they started bringing out variable speeds, what were those? The Emersons? They had the little screen on the back on the pumps. It was a single speed pump, but it had 2 speeds that you could push. It was low or high. I sold a shit of those. Those things were pieces of shit, but I sold a lot.
Are they still around?
Maybe, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Those stupid screens would go out so bad. There's so many problems. It'd be in the backyard for maybe 2 years, and then the buttons don't work anymore. The screen.
We see that on some of the newer stuff too today.
Yeah, exactly.
But in raising that level, now there's a need for tech in the pool business. Like, we're, my project manager, my main guy, he has learned so much in terms of the tech side and the automation. But, as companies grow and expand, there might be a need for guys to bring on nothing but a tech guy to do the programming and understanding, more networking, internet type stuff. Even the pool cleaners, the vacuums, all that, so that's just one more trade in the industry that we're having to learn. And so, it's exciting, but that's another level within the industry that, a lot of guys, aren't taking the time to learn. I have other pool companies that'll call me and be like, dude, this needs an automation upgrade. I don't know. I don't even want to touch this. I'm like, you're leaving, first of all, tons of money on the table. Yeah. And secondly, you've got to learn how this stuff works.
Yeah.
With I mean, there's a lot of great ones out there, but we've both been looking at the pool attendant. I mean, the technology in that thing
is incredible.
It's next level.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. And it's super amazing when you finish a pool, whether it's a remodel or a new build, and you're standing in the backyard with a customer and you're on your phone and you're hitting, buttons in the app.
Yeah.
And water features are going off and lights are
showing
changing.
how simple and one button push
people
that you can
love
make.
that. They love that. They're like, you put this whole thing together and I can run it all by my phone. And they just, I mean, that's priceless to me.
Yeah.
People are just amazed.
Yeah, it's huge, man. Let's talk about real quick your man Carl. The power of having a great person on your team that you can trust in. Like what is I mean, we've talked a little bit about it, but like the just you can just dive into that. Like having that good person to help your company grow and somebody that's truly dedicated to Catalina Pools.
Absolutely. I mean, truth be told, I got lucky. I got super lucky. In the beginning, we went through for the first 5 years, probably went through, I don't know, 7 to 10 employees. People would work for a year. I'd train them, and then they'd either go do their own thing or, they didn't work out because quality wasn't there, whatever. And then we're going on 5 years. Carl interviewed with me, and he started out on the service side.
Yeah.
And I have a rule. When I had my service side of the business, you had to run service for a minimum of 1 year before you moved into a repair tech or anything else.
We do the exact same thing.
And, you've got to be, I also want to see you sweat it out in the summertime and prove to me.
I want to see work ethic.
Right.
That's like, lots of people want to hire somebody because they're looking for somebody with experience that they can just run and go. I want somebody, honestly, with no experience, because you might be a great person, you might interview well, but how do you work on something and doing the same thing every day, and then on top of it when it's 115 degrees outside? Can you still do it? If you can still do that type of stuff, then you are showing that you're ready for other things to be thrown at you. How much can you carry on your plate? I'm not asking you to carry all the plates, because I'll do that.
Yeah.
But we are so trying to find ways that we can disperse those, right? Delegate our plates to people and see if they can carry it and do at least 80% of what we do. If they can do 80%, then that's a win. If they can do it 100% or better, well, bro,
Yeah.
you found a golden ticket.
Absolutely. I mean, Carl, so he started out on service, did a year, and then we started expanding the service side, bumped him up, and he was doing service and repairs. And he had a little bit of experience on the commercial side in doing for gyms. He was cleaning pools like on the commercial side in gyms. But he had been a couple years anyway, did a year in the service, then started doing pump installs, heater installs, all that. Anyway, fast forward to now, I mean, his absolutely work ethic and dedication is amazing. And he's to the level where he manages, new construction projects, manages remodels, and he'll still go out there and put a pump in. I've got another guy that we're training up and promoting up that's going to fill in the repair side. Carl still balances both, but the best part is, I think a couple years back we had a conversation, because I'm not looking for, I didn't want somebody to be around a few years and then bounce. And he said to me, he's like, I'll be completely honest, I don't want another job. Like, we're both in our early 40s, and he's like, listen, I'm here to stay, and I'll learn everything I can learn. And he's literally taken the reins and run with it. He communicates directly with customers. There's some guys I don't want talking to customers, not because they can't, just because we don't want to mix things up with communication. Also, if you don't know exactly what you're talking about,
give the wrong
I don't want to
response.
misrepresent something.
Yeah.
I have no problem with Carl speaking directly with customers, setting schedules, and he's amazing. I mean, there's not much literally that I can't ask him to do that he can't do and do it very well. He knows everything I know. I just spend more time, or I'm trying to spend more time on the development and management of the business versus the projects that we're running and stuff like that. And that's where his role is being more defined into running the projects. Once we close the deal, it just gets turned over to him. And another thing that's a huge bonus, which my wife and I have always been leery about with employees, is we really don't, there's a line when you have an employee versus friendship. Well, we got really lucky. Carl's got an amazing wife, and we've become friends, and we're close with them, and we spend time off the clock. And that's very rare in business.
Yeah, people try to keep it. I have a hard time not, I'm very open, right? So, Chris, my Chris is like your Carl, right? He doesn't have as much as the experience, and he can't necessarily knock out just any job, but I can trust in him to take on just about anything, and he can figure it out. Given why we promoted him to an operations manager, in a sense that he doesn't necessarily know everything, but I have all the faith and belief in him that he can handle it all. Like he's the same, right? Like I believe that, and he said that he's with Stay Fresh. This is his last job.
Right. That's exactly what Carl said.
It's like he wants to run it. He loves the service side. So he wants to grow the maintenance side, and we're trying to build it to something that it's his baby, that he's responsible for the service side. I mean, honestly, if I didn't find somebody like this, I'd be going the same route you did, thinking about getting rid of the service side. I love it, but there's just other things that we're more focused on. And sometimes without the right team, it turns into a little bit of a headache. More of a headache than what it's worth. So,
that's why we, made the move to exit that side. I wanted to focus more on some other things, but back to raising the bar, Carl, he loves the training and the education. And it's funny, I don't know, a few years back, he'd come to work the next morning and be like, oh yeah, I was online watching, this video or that. He takes the time, he's invested in the industry, and, he's picked up something that I always say, oh yeah, well, we are pool nerding. We'll talk to a homeowner and be like, oh, sorry, we're just pool nerds, because gets into the weeds on things, and loves to go to the manufacturer trainings, and involved, asking the right questions. And then, now he's pushing, and everybody knows Catalina's big Jandy people, but he's pushing Jandy to make some changes and some things that we see in the field that we want done differently so that it's a better product. But he's out there, knocking on the training doors and being like, hey, I want more information. Yeah. And
that's what we need.
Yeah. And I sign my guys up for training, and I push it. But he's out there knocking before I am. Give me those tools. Give me
Chris
that knowledge.
will send in text messages like, hey, here's another training course. Can I go to this? Can I go to this? There's a skimmer event that's coming up in California. And he's like, can I go to this? So we can figure out how we can send him to this skimmer event so he can go learn that stuff, just because that's a program that we currently use. But he's always, when I started going to Water Shape, he's like, I would like to go to Water Shape. I'm like, well, as we move towards those things, I want you to have all this info. I want you to be better than me. I want everybody, right? It's the same, my family and also anybody on the team. I don't raise my kids to be like me. It'd be a fucking nightmare. I want them to be better than me and have a better life than me and all this stuff. And given same thing, the people on our team, I want you to be better, for yourself. Right. Not for me, but for yourself. But then it all goes hand in hand that everything else comes up too.
Yeah, well, I think that, part of raising the standard or raising the bar in the industry starts with an individual, because if you don't raise your own standard, expecting yourself or those around you on your team to raise the standard in what you're doing is not necessarily going to work. You can't be really good at work and then, not, be a shitty person inside or shitty at home with your family. It
will reflect into the things that you do.
Absolutely. Yes. It correlates. Yeah. And so, we do personal development work and then business development work and then hands-on training, as a pool professional, but it's a it's a full circle in terms of bringing that level up. And so now we've got a core group of people with Catalina Pools that are all on the same page and pushing towards that end game, that goal. We're not trying to exit anything. We're trying to, hone in on our model in terms of quality, high end, not necessarily high end, just quality product that is, people are like, oh, that's a Catalina job. Because we all know we walk in, I mean, you and I probably see hundreds of pools a month. You walk in a backyard and without naming names, you're like, oh, that's a so-and-so pool. There's
immediately
certain traits that we see or way people do things. And you're like, oh, we do this differently. And because of our own experiences, and a lot of it's directly related to, we've serviced these pools. I mean, I saw a video that Zach posted where there's a vac line under a water feature. What a nightmare position.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Anybody who's serviced a pool would never do something like that. And then, you get so big, you lose quality control. We meet people with for a new build design, and they'll talk to, some of the big three. And I'm just like, when you're building that many pools annually, how do you have quality control?
You don't.
You can't.
And things will just naturally get missed. It is what it is. That's how it goes. Right? That's why we don't want to be that. And it's no knocking those big three guys. Like, it's great. They probably do very well.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time, majority of those bigger companies have had how many different owners?
True.
That
they
says
change
a lot.
hands. Yeah.
There's a reason why they sell. And a lot of times it's not because they're wanting to make more money. There's other instances going on behind closed doors, given why they've sold multiple different times but still hold the same names, because those names have been around for so long, and that's what carries weight. That's it. Just that.
Right.
Just the fact that they've been here and been doing it for 100 years, so people feel comfortable, but they don't realize that technically it's had so many different owners. It hasn't been in business for 100 years.
No, those are new businesses.
Every time.
Yeah.
Trying to change. And again, too, people probably buying it, trying to make it better. But it's hard when it's on those high levels. Is it possible? I believe it is possible.
Yeah.
I tell my guys, because a lot of people will be like, hey, when you start getting to those numbers, quality is hard. I'm like, yeah, it's, things that are worth something are usually hard. We just got to put in more work. Put in the right staff, build the right team. Easy said, right? But it is very possible. I believe that as we build our companies, example, I might build us to, let's say, or not me, but let's say Chris builds the service side and Stay Fresh on that side to 500 pools. When we get to that level, I'll be able to sell if we were to sell a company, we'd be able to sell our company with 500 pools for more money than the company that has 1,000 pools, because they'll look at our margins and our value and our quality of work that we do. It holds way more weight. Now, maybe a bank that would be buying it, they don't care because they're just looking at the customer list. But that's not the type of people, if we ever considered selling, you have to look at the brand and everything that goes along with what we do, or we're not even having a conversation.
Yeah, no, having just gone through a sale, at least on, I don't know, service is probably a third of what we do.
Yeah.
Just going through that and everything, that works great as far as the, construction, remodel, all that. I'll die with the name. The name will die with me. I'm not exiting anything.
Yeah, that's our plan too.
I don't have kids, but I mean, maybe, I don't know. Carl's kids already expressed interest. Carl was telling me a story, maybe it was a year ago. I guess he's got a son who's just getting ready to go into a high school. Yeah. And I was talking to the guidance counselor or something, and said, well, what do you want to do or whatever? And he said, I want to be in pools. And I'm sure the guidance counselor had never heard that before. Yeah. And he's just like, what? And oh yeah, my dad's a pool professional, and like getting into it. And he's come and, run a route, I think once or twice with us. And, we've taught him. He's still a little bit younger. But it was funny to see and hear that. I mean, when I was growing up, it wasn't what I had planned on. Yeah. But I mean, it's worked out well. I love what I do. Do you know the other thing about, and I'm sorry I get sidetracked, but passion in what you do is really helps with that, raising that bar. You and I are both passionate about the pool industry.
I truly love what I do.
Oh, I do too.
And I think too, the way that we are, no matter what we would have got into, we would have killed it and been passionate about it. We just happen to be in the pool industry.
Right.
And there's great opportunity in the pool industry. But being passionate makes all the difference, right? And when you really switched up to, like, even when you first started, even with your dad, and back then, like you weren't thinking of it because nobody really told us what the possibilities are within the pool industry or in the blue collar space. Right. Most people, especially who are around the same age, were trying to tell you to go to college and go do this, and nothing against it. My personal opinion, if you're going to go to college, you better know exactly what you're doing. It better be, and if it's a doctor, lawyer, like these things, degree, like these things. Yeah. But if you're going to college and you're taking a business class, just so you know, so you pay attention, the people teaching those classes has probably never owned a business in their life.
Yeah. Right.
So,
and you want to take a business class? Go start a business.
Exactly.
Go learn the real world.
Hard
what they teach you in the books is not what goes down out here in the real world.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And it's not about just making money, because that's where I come from. Like, I mean, I've never had a problem on figuring out stuff and making things happen and making money, but I had no idea about business and reality. And like that having a business and turning it into a business is what taught me business and understanding the stuff that goes on behind the doors, on how to keep the doors open and keeping people paid and all this stuff. Like I didn't know any of that stuff. So we went through those struggles, trying to figure shit out, because it's not hard to get out there and go to work and make money. Money is out there. So people that are hurting and can't find money, you're not doing enough. But if you want to be a business owner, there's more to than just that. That get shit done, get a check, that's not the only thing. That's the smallest part of having a business.
That's that's the hard part, is running the actual business.
Yeah.
I mean, I could teach anyone to put a
day-to-day
pump
shit.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's the hard part. And what's interesting is you do a lot of education with guys on, the pool wash and the microglass and that stuff, which is massive. And oddly enough, I get a lot of calls just from guys that I meet, in the industry on, like, how did you build your, like, what softwares are you using? And like, my wife's always like, you should start consulting and like teaching these guys, because, I have a business background through education, and, like understanding your books and how to price things out. Bro. And I get a lot of calls about that. And, it's a fine line for how much information I'm willing to give out, because again, I'm still a business owner, and, people are competition, even though I don't view a lot of the guys that, we all know as competition. There's enough work for all of us. But, it's that, people asking those key questions about, how I run my business and how we've scaled it and built the brand to the level that we're at. And that part, none of the manufacturers are going to teach you. There isn't a training class.
No, because they don't really understand it either.
Right.
And if they did, and the some that do, a lot of them left their business to go work for the manufacturers to have something just a little bit more simpler, and they don't have to deal with those things that go on. I understand. There's been times where, and I'm sure you too, they've been there, and you're going through it, and it feels like frustrating, and you're just, hitting the head on the nail, but the fucking thing's not going in, and you just keep going at it, and you're like, shit, I'm gonna go work for Jandy. At least I know I'll get a check every week.
I tell people
at 5 p.m. I'm done. I don't have to worry about shit. But
that, or I tell people, listen, when I'm all done, I'm gonna go sit behind the counter and slang tabs.
Right.
Just whether it's one of the suppliers, I'm like, at least my benefits will be really good. Yeah. Take a massive pay cut, that's for sure. But I definitely I've made that joke multiple times. Yeah. I'm like, when I'm all done, I'm just gonna go sit behind the counter.
Mm-hmm. It's not for everybody, man.
No.
Like there's a place for everybody, and just people just need to figure it out. But like being an entrepreneur and a business owner, it can be taxing for some. Some feed off of it, like myself. You know, Eric teases me all the damn time. He's like, bro, you got to get a hobby besides just grinding and this shit.
This
and
is your
I'm
hobby.
like, this is my hobby,
yes.
bro. I've been hustling since I was 12 years old. No joke, you know? And it just happened to turn, and I've gotten better throughout my life of what I'm doing and how I do it, how I operate, how I think, and how I am around the people that I care about. That's the only thing that's changed, but I'm still that hustler, that little boy, 12, 13 years old, that was just trying to get something different in my life, you know, that I didn't have because it wasn't available there. No lack of love in my home. You know, my mom always did her best and always showed that she loved me to death, but there was just things that she couldn't do, right? And I had to figure it out. And that's been my world since then, you know? It's like, I got to figure this shit out. So I was, you know, and some people, they'll be like, man, how long have you been an entrepreneur or whatever? I'll be like, I don't know anything else.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know. I've always done this. I've always wanted more. And sometimes I didn't know what it was. I just knew, you know, like I know that I'm destined to reach whatever it is that I want. I just may have to do more than somebody else because I don't have what maybe someone else has. That's okay. You know, like comparison is the thief of joy. You know, like some people can go look at your company and be like, man, I want to be like Catalina Pools. Well, I'll tell you this, like if you look at anybody's company or themselves and you want to be them, you're on the wrong, you're focusing the wrong way. You want to be better than them, not them. So take their info, take what you pick up from anybody that's speaking to you and implement it to become better, change your world that way. You know, your bank account may not show it, but it will eventually. If you stay dedicated to that type of mentality and hard work, whether it's with your hands or inside, I promise you, it will change in ways that is priceless.
Yeah, there's more to life than your bank account for sure. You know, fill your bank account in here.
Yeah,
That's priceless. And yeah, no, the other thing is build your own brand. Don't try to copy someone else's brand. Everyone has their own brand. Build your brand. And I'm not talking about the name of your company. Your brand is your character, your morality, your ethics,
100%.
who you are. Build that brand and blow it up. Blow it up. And Mike's a professional at the social media space with his brand. And that's something that I don't have a tagline. I'm not out there doing that. But I've taken things that I learned from everybody else, whether it's online or in classes, and start elevating those things. But my brand is, first of all, me, second, Catalina.
Yep.
You know, and so that's where we bring it up.
Exactly.
You know, I would start there. When you want to raise the bar, raise the, you know, getting, you know, the level up, start there. Start here.
With yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Always, man.
Absolutely.
It's not with the company first, it's you.
Yeah.
It's you. So whatever you think that you need to change, whether it's maybe you're a little overweight, guess what? That's self-work.
Yeah.
Go get in, change that. You'll see too, man. I mean, it's crazy. If you look at the most successful people in the world, for the most part, are any of them fat?
No.
No, man.
Speaking of, I haven't seen many of your sweating it out videos
work out
in the garage.
I do. I work out every day of the week. The change is I work out in the evening now, and so I don't video it because I'm working out with my brother. My brother's very overweight, and he wants to change that. And he doesn't want to be on camera,
No, man,
and
fine.
so I'm not going to force him onto camera. He doesn't do that. You know, he's an engineer, and you know he just doesn't do that type of shit. So some of my guys bust my balls. He'll be like, "Where's the videos?"
Yeah, I've just thought of
they
that.
keep me going. I'm like, shit. You know, if I do the videos, I got to work out twice, you know? Or I got to make time to do the video before my brother gets there. Blah 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 blah. But the main focus on that, like I wanted to do that because I want to encourage people and inspire people to do more for themselves. So that's why I started doing those. Also, we've done well at building the brand of Stay Fresh.
Absolutely.
In the last couple years, I've really focused in on personal brand. And so that's why I show that, because I want people to see who I am. And show the difference again too. A lot of people will look on the internet, and people are internet people, right? And then when you meet them in person, they're not the same person.
Right.
What you see online and when you meet me in person, I'm the same person. Same. I don't change at all for anybody. I am me everywhere I go. And I want people to see that. I feel like that holds lots of weight, whether you like me or not. If you don't respect it, then you're probably a douchebag.
There's plenty of those out there.
Let's just be real. Yep. We don't have to be friends, but like that's the type of stuff and why I do that. So anyways, get off topic, right? I still work out, but my goal really is to work out with my brother. He wants to make some health changes for himself. And so that's the focus. So I don't do that. Still try to do my videos and post them up and try to say say whatever's on my mind. One thing that hit me, dude. You always try to think, and people always are like, "What's success?" And they usually put it around like finances and or assets and stuff like that. And what really hit me, what success is that my wife or my kids will send me inspirational quotes, and it won't say anything. They'll just send it to me. And the reason that they do that is because when they read it, they see me.
They think of you.
They think of me.
Yeah.
That right there is success at the highest level. If you can do that just by being yourself every day, that the people that mean the most to you see the king that you believe that you are, bro, like there's nothing that I can't topple.
No, that's the truth. That's the truth.
My wife just sent me one just a few days ago, and it's like, they send them to me often, right? But it just hit then, like because I go to like these events and people are always talking about money. I love money too. I want money, and because it provides us the ability to do things to create memories, right?
Yeah, it makes life easier.
Exactly. But
it's not.
But I don't think that try not to measure your success based on the amount of money that you carry. Because again, too, a lot of these guys that have lots of money and all this stuff, how many times have they been married?
Right, and they're miserable. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bro, we've done good and we've had our ups and downs, but my wife and I, we've been together, almost 23 years, we've raised family, raised our kids and all the stuff, happy, healthy, good people, like that. That's what means the most to me. Like grades have never mattered with my kids. I just care that, are you a good person?
Right.
Will you take care of other people? Will you stand up for others? Will you make shit happen? Are you willing to cross the line for the people that you love because of me being around you? Because dad will.
Right.
Right? They know. My daughters will never go around saying anything like some people or whatever, I'll get my dad. My kids won't do that. Why won't they do that? Because if they have to get me, then there's no turning back, and this shit's gonna get ugly.
Right. There's a real problem.
There's a real serious problem, and that they know it's not worth it, right? Because I will go to the extreme for my people, for whatever it is.
Sure.
Right? Help them, whatever financially. You cross the line on my kids, I'll bury you right where you stand, and I'll go sit in a cell for the rest of my fucking life. And that's what my kids know that, right? So they don't want that, because they're like, we've had these conversations, like, Daddy, if you do that, then we don't get you. And I was like, but this is what I stand on.
Right, that's the point I'm trying to make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a game. We're living a life and we only get one. So
super important how you spend your time. I said, we're raising, I've got two nieces that we're raising. They're not my blood kids, but we're raising them. And
I remember you telling me about that, actually. Yeah.
I've got one in medical school and another one is a freshman in college here, and she wants to be a lawyer. I'm like, why couldn't you guys get basket weaving degrees or something? But, good for them. They're way better students than I ever was.
Yeah.
I was explaining to them, you get one shot at this life. Mm-hmm. make it worthwhile. And, if you're after driving the Ferrari and all that, you're wasting your time. Enjoy what you do and be passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, we've built two companies that are, heavily branded, successful. And I think you and I both are super passionate about what we're doing. And that's why I asked you, I said, hey, I want to get on, let's chat about this, because you and I both are on the same wavelength with, bringing this industry up, I'm super eager to get more involved in water shape.
Yep.
And so.
Yep. And same here. Like we're diving in more and more. I wish it was more here, right?
Yeah.
It just makes it difficult traveling. Not that I don't mind traveling, because it can turn it into a business vacation.
Right.
Right. But yeah, like it's huge. We're on to something too. I love water shape. I think that anybody in the pool industry that wants to be a leader in the pool industry should really look into water shape. Because of water shape, we have some things that you see me working on education and stuff like that. The things that we're pushing, water shape focuses on the people already in the industry. There needs to be something that focuses on the people that aren't in it, that don't know what they're going to do. So example, like the kids in high school,
right,
juniors and seniors. If they had something that they can go take that teaches them to be a for real professional in this industry, I think it would be huge. Just because they can find common grounds, right? If they're in Arizona, they probably have an uncle or a brother or a dad, maybe even their dad that's in the pool industry, been in the pool industry, cleaned some pools. It would be an easy thing for them to be like, hey, you know what? I'm in my junior year. I got my credits together. I can go to this thing once I graduate out of high school. I can be a licensed contractor.
Well, there's trade schools for every trade except our industry.
Exactly.
Which is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's really, because I'm so passionate about what we do, that's where my passion is now focused and driving towards.
Nice.
Is making that happen. So yeah, it's a long path, man, but we're going to make it happen.
Well, if you ever need a guest speaker.
Yeah, right? Yeah, we're going to need it. We're going to need teachers and all kinds of shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, guys that know what they're doing, guys that are passionate about this business. Yeah, I mean, that's something, as we, the summer times, we got to, get through our summer, and then, I think a lot of the education kicks back up after summer's over.
Yeah, same. Like all of our chemical wash trainings and pool wash trainings, those stopped last month. We'll dive back into it as it cools off. I mean, obviously, we're still doing washes and stuff like that. We have multiple of them this week. But, it's hot as shit to be running training courses and having people focus on what we're doing and sweating their balls off in a backyard. I don't want to lose quality. So we push it. We'll get back to it when it cools off and the weather's nice.
Yeah, and for everybody out there in the rest of the country, we know everyone's got tough markets, but you want to do a real tour of duty in the pool business? Come and spend 2 months with us here in Arizona, July, August, and we'll have some fun.
Yep. That's right, man. You better be ready.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But, like you and I, we wear jeans,
Yeah, and again, too, this is like at least for myself, and I tell my guys, my belief is the less my skin is in the sun, the cooler I'll be throughout the day, and the more... I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but the more comfort I can possibly find, especially when I was servicing pools. I've been doing it. I mean, when I first started, we'll make a tease at Zach, wearing his flip flops. Got you, boy. Which again, too, I used to wear flip flops. I used to wear shorts, short sleeve shirt, and kind of just coming out there like you would see in movies, the pool boy, right? And then I started figuring, like getting funny tans on my feet and getting burned when I didn't want to. And skin cancer is a real thing. And so just that on top of it, skin cancer is real. And if you want to stay cooler out there, stay out of the sun. Wear shirts that you can get wet that stay cool. That's what we provide, these long sleeve shirts, because if during the hottest part of the year, you can dip your arms in the pool, they'll stay wet and cold for probably the next 2 pools. You get to the next pool, you can do it again. We get neck gaiters. We wear big hats that cover our necks and protect us from the sun. This is why I wear pants. I felt once I switched over to wearing pants and long sleeves, way better. I noticed a complete difference on working a full day out in the sun versus to having my skin exposed to the sun, and I would be dehydrated a lot faster.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing. Maybe not as much as you, but I definitely try to cover up. But one thing, Carl, he looks like a roofer. He loves his shorts and his short sleeves and his ball cap.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, to each is their own. As long as you survive and don't get sick, and don't burn yourself out.
Yeah.
But
same with my guys.
I give all my guys. We've got the dry fits with the hoods and the whole deal, kind of like you guys do. And some guys love them, some guys don't. I'm just like, make sure you stay hydrated, stay protected. You know, and if
give you all the info that I can because I did it. Right. I'm not telling you to do this because I just think what's better. I'm just telling you what I've done to make a change that made it more comfortable for me while I was out there just going at it. It's not hard to clean pools. It's dealing with all the elements around you to clean pools and staying dedicated to doing a good job. Those are the guys, you'll see that they don't do this, and they start getting to the end of their day, things start to change because they're dying. Arizona sun is going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Your 15th pool better be just as good as your first pool. Mm-hmm. And so, that consistency is the hard part. And then I always thought, I've serviced thousands of pools, and the monotony would get to me. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, how many more do I have left? Yeah. That monotony. And so staying focused and, keeping your eye out for the repairs. And all that kind of stuff.
Are you guys still doing, what is it in Cabo?
Yeah.
What was it? Are you still running your stuff out there?
I leave on Thursday. And so there's only one other American pool contractor doing work in Cabo.
Wow.
And so I saw a need. And so right now it's still on the entry level, but we're doing a lot of automation work. Mm-hmm. They don't have automation in Mexico to the level we do. It's still on the infancy stages. So we're doing automation. I'm doing a little consulting for a developer down there on the construction side. Believe it or not, they're building pools at a CMU block. And
I already knew. I was about to say.
And then spraying pebble over it. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So anyway, doing a little consulting on that. But as Carl takes over more of the day-to-day operations of things, then I can, step away and focus on that. But working in Mexico, I lined up with, there's the only Pebble Tech installer in Mexico I've had some conversations with. So I've got an installer that I can work with down there. That's kind of, phase 2. We had to take a break from that for a little bit while we exited the service side. And now that I've got some more time, I can focus. But I'm going down Thursday and I'll do probably 3 automation installs. So again, now I'm getting back into turning a wrench myself, which I love. And so I'll do those myself when I go down there. Yeah. And we'll start to grow that and see where that leads.
Hell yeah.
But as much as...
This right there is thinking out of the box. Most people would never,
well, it's funny.
Even come across their brain.
We go on vacation. My wife and I met in Cabo. We love Cabo. It's kind of our second home. But we'd be on vacation, and I'm not a lay on the lounge chair, read a book like my wife is. Mm-hmm. And so I'd be looking at the guy doing the pool work, and I'm like, he's doing that wrong. And so I'd be getting up, going over there, trying to help out and stuff. Yeah. And after a while, my wife's like, there's all this work down here. Why don't you just, get involved in it? So, and, there's a pool corp down there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the cost of stuff is vastly different because it's all imported. Yeah. And so, so then that's when we developed, a business down there, and we're starting to, work on that.
Hell yeah.
We'll see. It's exciting. I'll start doing some social media stuff once I kind of get a little bit more developed on it.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So this shit's cool as hell, man.
Yeah.
But, well, cool. That's great to have you on here, Mike. I appreciate the eagerness to jump on this and all the support that you give on everything that I talk about and want to do, and you being like, I'm on board as well. I hear it a lot in the industry. I know people want it because, one, I'm in it, and then you hear people saying like, yeah, this needs to happen. So I appreciate yourself and other guys out there that really want to see change happen. We can't have change without other people getting involved. Like it takes villages to build a kingdom, and it takes kingdoms to build empires, right? So that's what we need to all come together to make a change, that it changes inside for us and it changes everything outward. So, without going too much again into everything we just talked about, I appreciate you coming out here, brother.
No, thanks for having me. And,
Yeah.
like you stated, I'm passionate like you are. Want to help anybody I can, raise the bar up. And if we can collectively as a group, keep moving forward, I think it just benefits us all. So this is a great opportunity. And again, I'm always available for anybody, for any time.
Yeah, my man. We'll see y'all later. Y'all know what's up. It's Mike Stay Fresh. This is Raising the Standard podcast. We got a lot more coming to you.
Okay, let's go.